This is Orson Welles behind the camera. A camera focused for this program on a fairly out-of-the-way and little-known corner of Europe, the land of the Basques. The people who live here are neither French nor Spanish. They're Basques. And the rise and fall of other republics, other kingdoms, has never made them forget it, that they're Basques. And that Basques are what Basques are. Well, what is a Basque? All we know for sure is what a Basque is not.
Here it is, the Bako Tunes podcast with Matt Munoz. Audio brought to you by Chain Cone Clark.
You know, the 50th annual Basque Festival, also known to some as the Basque Picnic or simply Besta, returns this Memorial Weekend to the Kern County Basque Club. To help you get ready to celebrate, I'm joined in studio by Mr. Steve Gamboa, a member of the Kern County Basque Club Board of Directors. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Well, thank you, Matt. Happy to be here.
Yes, now, you do have an actual longer title than that, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm also a professor out at CSUB. I'm a professor of philosophy. Currently, I'm working as an interim associate dean in the School of Arts and Humanities. And I'm also, my other hat, director of the Institute for Basque Studies that we started up at CSUB about 3.5 years ago.
Perfect person to have on the show to talk about this. So be ready to talk, my brother. Well, let's get into it. This festival, 50th annual in Bakersfield. It's a celebration of our beloved Basque community. I mean, I can also say it's kind of a rite of passage for those who have yet to explore, like the Basque tradition beyond just a meal at Benji's or Wool Growers or those establishments who claim a Basque connection, right?
Right, of course. They have a deep Basque connection.
Yeah, you got to go. This is the thing to do. To get the full experience,
full spectrum experience, you have to dive in.
Yeah,
you have to dive into the Memorial Day picnic at the Kern County Basque Club down on South Union.
Yeah, chances are, if you've driven up and down Union, you see it's right off to the left. Well, depending on which way you're driving, it's right there. It's located. I have the address right here. Yes, 2301 South Union, Bakersfield. It's past the fairgrounds. So you got to keep going. So those are my friends who live out in Rexland Acres, who go way out there. You know what I'm talking about. It's the Basque Club. And that place has come a long way.
Right. No, this is commemorating the 50th anniversary of the purchase of what used to be the Rainbow Gardens. It was a dance club out there. They purchased it in 1974. The Basque Club had existed for quite a while before that, but this is when they made that purchase of that land. And over the last 50 years, they've done lots of reforms. They've expanded into a picnic area with trees. They built a handball court, which was crucial to making it a real Basque center.
Yeah.
And since that time, they've been hosting this annual picnic, which is really the main date on the calendar for the Basque community here in Bakersfield and Kern County.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. See, you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave town. You want to stay in Bakersfield. You want to go to the Basque picnic. Now, before we get into all things, because I have the entire schedule right here, we're not going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but let's get into this. When people ask you who and what are Basques, how do you answer that without going through an entire history lesson?
Back to the BC ages, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Basques are a people who come from a region in northern Spain and southwest France. So the Basque region kind of straddles the border between Spain and France. And as a people, what mostly defines them is their language. It's a unique language, the Basque language. It is unrelated to any other known European language or any language in the world for that matter. And despite political divisions and despite histories of being parts of these other countries, there is this unity, this linguistic and cultural unity that provides the Basque people with their unique character. They've been in Kern County for a long time, really since the beginnings of Bakersfield. The first immigrants started coming in the 1870s, mainly involved in the sheep industry. And for subsequent generations, all really up through the early 1970s, Basque immigrants have made their way to Bakersfield, mainly as sheep herders, as I said, but then they found themselves getting into other occupations, restaurants, as you know, also gardening and landscaping, important occupations for the Basque community. And they've really become an integral part of what Bakersfield is.
Oh, yes. Definitely one of the threads that keeps this entire county together. So much beautiful history. And that's why I love going to the Basque picnic, because I feel like, even though I'm not Basque, I feel a connection to the Basque community here in Bakersfield. And I think it's because we come from the immigrant connection, all that implies, and that's an entirely other story. And I could pick your brain about that, but let's talk about this. who are some of the oldest families in Kern, like the original immigrants? What are some of the surnames?
Well, there's a lot of families that came in that original generation in the 1870s and 80s, and what you find is that many of them brought their nephews, their grandkids. I mean, subsequent generations just kept filling the coffers. So names like Echeverry and Salabaher, Mendiburu, those are names that, Maitia, those are names that have a really rich and deep history here in Bakersfield.
Yeah, I know Mendiburu.
Mendiburu.
Yeah, yes. No, so where is Gamboa in there?
Well,
what wave did you guys come over?
Well, they were Gamboas who came fairly early on. I'm actually not from Bakersfield, so I'm a blow-in. I've only been here 20 years.
Okay.
My father immigrated from the Basque Country in the 1950s as a sheep herder, and he eventually settled in the Los Angeles area, eventually in around Chino, California, which is another area where there's a Basque community. And that's the interesting thing. You'll find Basque communities really all through California, Nevada, Idaho. These were places where Basque could, congregate, get together, have their picnics.
Yeah.
Get to be with people who spoke their language and had similar backgrounds. So in Chino, there was a significant Basque population that kind of from the larger LA area. And that's where I grew up. They have an annual picnic at Labor Day. So if you want to bookend your summer, you can do Memorial Day weekend here in Bakersfield, go down to Chino and enjoy their Labor Day picnic.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar. But a lot of folks from that Chino community have moved up to Bakersfield, especially folks involved in dairy farming. A lot of the Basque dairymen have moved from that Chino area. It was a real concentration. They've come up here to Bakersfield. My dad was in the sheep business, like so many Basques.
That's amazing. Yeah, like you were saying, for the longest time, since I'm, I know what I know about Basque in Kern County, in Bakersfield, and you just always assume, well, this is what it is, but no, there is a lot more to it. When I started finding out that there was Basque in other areas, for some reason, I don't know what it was, that a lot of people just assumed that they just came, Basque just settled in Kern County, and that's it, and that's as far as it goes. No. I mean, is it, what are the highest concentration of Basque in the United States?
Well, mainly in the western United States. Again, they came over on those special sheep herder visas that allowed immigration to happen in the post-war years especially. So within California, the Central Valley, all up and down it, you'll find Basque communities, Los Baños, Fresno. San Francisco has a concentration of Basques that were, from early ages. And as I mentioned, the LA area, mainly around Chino. But if you go to Nevada, in Reno, in Winnemucca, Elko, those towns in northern Nevada, Ely, and then in Idaho, probably the largest concentrations of Basques you'll find is in Boise, Idaho. A big concentration up there, and they also have a real great tradition of throwing good parties.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yes. I'm going to keep reminding everybody that the 50th annual Kern County Basque Festival, Besta, am I saying it right?
Besta, yeah.
Besta, May 24th, 25th, and 26th. So whenever you're listening to the broadcast, what you want to do is you want to go to kcbasqueclub.com. So KCBASQUECLUB.com, and that has the entire schedule on there. But let's get back to a little bit of the history. So you're talking about there are two classifications. So you go, I'm Spanish Basque or French Basque.
Right.
But I've also heard that everybody's just Basque. If you're Basque, you're Basque.
Yeah, no, definitely. And especially for the Basque who immigrated to California, if you drew, a circle around the diameter of the villages that they came from, probably, 20 miles around, and the border just runs right between them. So these are villages that were geographically very close together, but they just so happen to be divided by that border between France and Spain. So it does have, when you go there, you will definitely notice that you're either in the French side or the Spanish side. The accents sound a little bit different as well. I should mention that there's that other community of Basques who immigrated, especially to the Boise, Idaho area. They came from a different region of the Basque Country, closer to Bilbao and Guernica, the famous town of the bombing during the Spanish Civil War. So they were mainly Biscayan Basques, and they have a very different dialect. So you might have two Spanish Basques, but one is more from that region that settled here in California, and the other one's more from that Biscayan area. And, they would be very different in terms of the Basque dialect that they spoke. So often that Spanish-French divide obscures the kind of deeper differences between it's a very mountainous region, so very often you would get lots of differences in local dialect of the Basque that they're familiar with. It's a fascinating kind of micro history. How many dialects are there? Well, I mean, as many as 13, I've heard.
Yeah.
And, as I said, it might vary a little bit from valley to valley, and then you go from one extreme to the other, and it can be, at one time, they were almost mutually unintelligible, that one person from one region couldn't understand the Basque spoken in another. Now, what's happened in the last 50 years or so is a movement to provide a kind of unified Basque. It's called Batua. And this is what's often taught to younger people. So this way they'll know their local dialect, but they'll be able to communicate with people from other parts of the Basque region.
And do most people who are from the Basque Country, do they also know maybe French, French and Spanish? So how many languages, I would say, if you talk to somebody that's born and raised in the Basque Country, how many different languages would they know?
Well, minimally the two.
Yeah.
Right? They will know, if they are Basque speakers, they will also speak Spanish or French, depending on the region they're from. Increasingly, they speak English as well. It's become such an important language skill for anyone in Europe.
Yeah.
And so if you visit the Basque Country, my first visits there, back in the 80s, very few people had any English. But now, especially among younger folks, they've had a lot of exposure to English, and so, that helps.
How many times have you visited?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I'm going to be going to the Basque Country in June. I'm taking a group of students from CSUB. We're a small group. We're going to be 7 altogether, but we're going to be visiting the Basque Country, learning about its history, learning about some unique kind of cultural and social things that exist there, traveling to San Sebastian, ultimately Bilbao, hitting a few other spots in between. So we're going to be leaving in June and staying for 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about this opportunity to share the Basque Country with CSUB students who, they themselves aren't Basque. They're just interested in studying abroad and learning about the world. I haven't been there since before COVID, so this will be a return. In my 20s, I spent significant time living there, kind of hanging out.
What's it like? For people for myself, what's it like? I want to know.
Yeah, well, the best way to answer that is to go.
Yeah.
Right, and meet up with it.
How hard is it to get there? Like you say, well,
right.
I'm going to go to Spain, so I already know how to get to Spain or the major cities, and I want to go to France. You go to the major cities, but you say, I want to go to the Basque Country.
Right.
How do I do that?
Well, easy enough. I mean, there's a major airport, mainly in Bilbao, but you can travel there from just about any European capital. So we're actually flying in through Zurich and then connecting on a flight to Bilbao, but they have connections from London, from Lisbon, and of course from Madrid. So that's probably the easiest access. I mean, from Madrid, it's a 40-minute flight and, fairly cheap. If you want to land in Madrid and include the Basque Country in your travels in Spain, very easy. It's about a 4-hour drive in a rental car. From Paris, there are flights as well to the Basque Country, to the French Basque Country, to Biarritz. It's coastal, it's green, it's, I will be honest, it can be rainy. So if you get there, you better bring your umbrella or buy one when you get there. But especially in the summer, it's a time when every town throughout the Basque region will hold its version of a Besta, right? And there'll be 4 or 5 days of dancing and eating and drinking, and the people are very welcome, very open to visitors. Some areas like San Sebastian, also known in Basque as Donostia, it's become a real center, especially for foodies. The Basques are, I think it's fair to say, food obsessed. They really live and die for food. They wake up in the morning thinking about what they're going to have for lunch, and they have great food. I mean, they have great raw ingredients, the fish, the stuff they get from the mountains, from their gardens. It makes for, and you combine that with their passion and obsession for food, you will eat like nowhere else in the world. And
dancing. You're going to dance a lot.
You're gonna dance.
A lot of music. So Basque food that we kind of commonly know, that we're familiar with, like this is Basque food, so we kind of go to the restaurants around here. If I was to go to the Basque Country, what would the cuisine be like over there?
Well, get ready. It's not going to be the same. I mean, I think of Basque food here in America. It's Basque American food. Yeah. It's food. It's a cuisine that developed in response to the needs of the Basque community here, and that was mainly, people doing hard labor, doing farm work, immigrants who. This cuisine developed in boarding houses like Noriega's most famously, as a way to feed these immigrant workers cheaply and with plenty of calories. Yeah, they're burning them all. So whatever cuts of meat could be procured, fairly inexpensively. Tongue, one example.
Yum yum yum.
Oxtail.
I love the tongue.
You will not find pickled tongue in the Basque Country.
No.
It does not exist.
Wow.
Yeah. They have a tongue dish, but it's usually cooked in a kind of tomato stew. And, you know, for Americans who are familiar with Basque American food, who go over there expecting like a pickle tongue or expecting a pecan punch, they have no idea what you're talking about. They will stare at you, and those are completely creations of the immigrant community in the diaspora.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this. So what are some resources that you recommend to those who want to learn more about the history of the Basque in Kern County, or just the Basque community in general history?
Right. Well, there's a wonderful book by the local historian Steve Basque, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, The Basque of Kern County. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful history. Steve was not himself Basque, but he married a Basque and he was a local historian, taught history in local elementary schools and junior highs. And it was a dedicated historian in his own right, but he became really interested first in the history of Basque involvement in the Spanish exploration of the New World, right? He did an extensive history of the place of Basques in, like, Juan de Anza, for example, the famous explorer of the California region is of Basque extraction, Juan de Oñate. So some of the most famous names in the history of Spanish conquistadores, as they call them, right? They actually were Basques, and so he did a really interesting work on that. But then he became interested in the history of Basque immigration here to Bakersfield and Kern County, beginning again, or re-beginning in the 1870s. And it's a wonderful accounting of those early families and the subsequent generations who made Bakersfield their home. So we're going to be commemorating Steve and a number of other important members of the Basque community who have contributed to the continuation of this kind of special group of folks here in Bakersfield and Kern County that are contributing to the maintenance of this community. And that's what we're working for. There's no steady stream of immigrants still coming from the Basque Country. That kind of ended, as I said, back in the 70s. So for those of us who are born here but of Basque descent, the question is, well, what do we want this identity to continue, and how do we want it to continue?
Yeah.
How can we preserve that, and what aspects of it do we need to work hard to do so? And so one of the ways in which that happens is through renewing these traditions, these events. The Basque Picnic is the prime example, but also the involvement of the Basque Club in the Kern County Fair, in hosting all kinds of events at the Basque Club itself.
Yeah, because you can become a member. I went on the website. You can become a member, and I know they do dance classes, and you can be in the band. They were saying one of someone that we know, Mr. Eric Duhart, longtime friend. Right. He's been playing in the band since he was a kid. Right. And now his children are learning the dances. Right. And so, the tradition continues. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's the thing. And you have to have these instruments, these mechanisms that can keep those traditions going. You have to recruit them when they're young. That way they grow up in that community, getting to know folks and feeling that bond of friendship that will last. And then they'll be, when they have children themselves, those memories will lead them to go back and take their kids on, Sunday mornings when they could be doing lots of other fun stuff. Take them back to the Basque Club to learn how to play handball, learn how to do the dances, be part of the clica.
Yeah, the clica.
The clica.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's like us as Mexican Americans, it's learning folklorico dancing, mariachi music, everything like that. It's the same type of thing. You want to make sure that you pass on those traditions to your kids, because you talk about like how far a community has come. When you talk about everybody who migrated over here, obviously, at the time, from what I know in history, and you can correct me, you're the historian. Was it dangerous? Was it a dangerous time? Like, did they have to leave to come over here?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, the Spanish Civil War, and then that was followed shortly after by World War II and the Nazi occupation of the Basque Country in France. Those were difficult times. That was also a time where immigration was very restricted. It wasn't until after the war, when the sheep industry here in America was kind of booming, and they had a real shortage of people willing to go out into the desert with 2,000 head of sheep and just be out there. There was a movement by some local Basque sheep owners, and this involved a famous Senator McCarran from Nevada, who passed the McCarran Immigration Act that specifically allotted for a certain number of immigrants from the Basque Country to have that opportunity to come to America. And that was that post-war boom of immigration that really refilled the stocks, if you like, of Basque communities throughout the American West. The history of war and violence was part of it. They were really looking for economic opportunities. These are mainly coming from small farming, subsistence farms that large families made it difficult to provide for everyone. And so that led the sons and daughters to look again to America as a place that they could go to and find economic opportunity. And many of them did return. They did their stint here as sheepherders for a number of years and then would take whatever they earned and take that back to the Basque Country. But a good number of them stayed and made their lives here and have been very successful. And that's what the community is built on.
Definitely. Now, what are some of the things that, as far as sheep herders and some of the, you talk about like the dairy, the cows and the dairy industry and everything like that. What are some of the things that they brought from the Basque Country to America?
Well, it's funny. I mean, everyone thinks that the Basques are just natural-born sheepherders, like they have it in their DNA or something, right? That was a lot of the argument they made for, like, why we need to be Basques because they're the world's best sheepherders. And they had sheep. They usually came, as I said, from subsistence farms where they'd have, some sheep, some cows, some pigs, chickens, the whole thing. But what they had no experience of is ranging across the kind of American landscape with 2,000 head of sheep. And I mean, that was a completely novel experience for them when they came as young men. They had to learn all that here. The same thing with dairy farming. I mean, just about any Basque farm will have a few cows that they milk, usually to make cheese. But coming to a place like Chino or eventually the Central Valley and doing large-scale dairy farming, that's a totally new kind of endeavor. And so they had to learn those things here, and that's a big part of what made them successful is how adaptive they were.
Yeah, that's amazing. So kcbaskclub.com, it's a great place to start because you can find out all the information. Let's go over this schedule real quick. So the 50th annual Kern County Basque Festival, Besta, it kicks off on Friday, May 24th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's a convention meeting. I guess that's like the beginning, the arrival of everybody comes in. Wool growers, of course.
Wool growers. Well, this is what's special about this year because we're celebrating our 50th anniversary of being at the location on South Union. We are hosting the North American Basque Organization annual meeting. So there is a consortium of all the different Basque clubs throughout the American West. They belong to this NABO, as it's called, North American Basque Organization. So it's a kind of a union or conglomerate of all the different Basque communities. And every year they pick one Basque community to host their convention. That's where they'll gather and have these meetings. And that's what's occurring on Saturday morning at Wool Growers. They'll be meeting and discussing all of the organizational business and the laws and the votes and all that. So it's really a organizational meeting that they're hosting at Wool Growers and then having lunch. At the same time, at the Basque Clubhouse, right down on South Union, we'll be hosting a card tournament. The Basques have a card game, kind of a combination of poker and bridge. It's called Moose.
Yeah.
They play it all over the world. They have international competitions. I mean, there are Basque communities, not just in North America. There are Basque communities in Mexico, in Argentina, in Chile, all throughout Latin America, of course. And they also have their Euskolachea, their Basque clubhouses. Yeah. And each of them are, crazy about moose. It's another way in which the Basques compete against each other. So we'll be holding a moose tournament, and then later in that afternoon of the Saturday, there'll be some pala games, which is another kind of Basque sport played with a ball and a wall, and you hit it against the wall. This time in pala, they have a wooden paddle that they use to hit the ball around. Then there'll also be the handball games, where instead of a paddle, they use a hand. That's the pure form of the sport.
So it's called pelota?
Pelota.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's the pure form of the sport that Basques are completely obsessed with. Food and handball. Those are
Well, you get a lot of the big players come over, right?
Yes, this year we're
who's coming?
I know they're bringing 4 really prominent up-and-coming handball players from the Basque Country. Everyone's excited about them. I don't have their names with me on the offhand.
It's okay. You go. No, you know what you do is you go to kcbaskclub.com because their names and they're all right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they'll be playing a bit on Saturday, and then Saturday evening there's performances by dance groups from throughout the American West that are coming to Bakersfield for this. There's a tri-tip dinner. And then after that, there's musical performances. We've got a local local act.
Yeah,
called
Glitter Fox.
Glitter Fox.
I know them. I've written about them.
Yeah, they're
I know them.
fantastic.
Amazing.
And their lead singer is a young woman who's from a Basque family, the Hegoak family here in Bakersfield, and they're really hitting the charts. And they've got a couple of songs that they sing in the Basque language, so it's going to be a real opportunity to see them.
Yes. And then also, so you got to catch Glitter Fox. Everybody out there listening, you'll know who I'm talking about. That group used to be called Bear Coon.
Yes.
I wrote them when they were called Bear Coon. I know Sherry. One of the singers. It's her mom. Sherry's an amazing singer herself. And you also have, of course, the returning group. Now, I want to make sure, let me see how I say their name, because I might say them wrong. Luarts?
Luarts. Yeah,
Luarts. Okay,
Luarts.
so silent H. Luarts.
Well, again, that depends on whether you're French Basque or Spanish Basque.
Oh.
I say Luarts.
And they're from, let me see if I say this. Luarts from Euskadi?
From Euskadi.
Oh, I
You
said
got
it right.
You said it exactly
See?
right.
Because I go to the Basque Picnic every year. Like, everybody should be out there. So how do you find... So that group comes every year.
Right.
And I was looking up some videos of them playing back at home. Whoa. They're playing to, like, seas of people.
Right.
And everybody's doing the dances. And so, like, everybody who's been to the Basque Picnic here and you've gone out there to dance after you've had a few calimochos, like myself, we'll go out there and we'll do the dance. Go on YouTube and look up the band, Luhartz, Luhartz, and look up when they just do shows over there. It's absolutely, people are really having a good time, right? And so they come over all the time.
They do, and the only reason, and they are very popular over there, they're very sought after, but the only reason they come back every year is because they have a great time coming here, and they've built relationships with lots of folks here in Bakersfield, and so for them, it's like this great opportunity to go to America. I mean, we're very lucky to have them. They provide a great atmosphere. They play fantastic music. And I think they are inclusive, right? You don't have to have grown up doing Basque dances. You can get out there and have a great time.
Yeah, you go over there. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's over there.
Absolutely.
You go over there and you'll see, and you're going to see a lot of people that you know because, a lot of the families of, they've kind of married into the Basque community, so it's like you're going to see, hey, I know you. Hey, I know you. You're going to see a lot of the names and you're going to realize, oh, you're going to kind of piece it all together. If you're just interested in the culture and like the history and how it connects here in Kern County, you should go. It's all weekend long. And if you want to go and dance, you can dance from like 7 p.m. until 1 in the morning.
It keeps going.
And you can have all this great food. We always leave with a lot of the sausages, the chorizo sandwiches. Go to kcbaskclub.com, get some more information about all this. Now, before I let you go, I want to go into like celebrities that if you were surprised to find out they are of Basque descent. I will start with this before I ask you about some of these others. The singer for the Marky Ramone band. So Marky Ramone, the last remaining living Ramone, he brought his band over here to Tembler in February.
No way.
Now I found out that the lead vocalist, who does the Joey Ramone vocals, he's from the Basque Country. And I did all the research. Yeah, he is big. He plays in a bunch of Basque punk bands and rock bands. And his name, I don't know if I say this right, Iñaki Urbizu. Urbizu. And his name in quotations is Pela. Yeah.
Well, the Ramones are absolutely huge in the Basque Country.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
not surprising.
Yeah. The agent got me connected to him somehow, and so we sent some emails, and I sent him some places to go, and he kind of had that same reaction. He goes, well, but those places are just like regular restaurants. I think he was assuming there's going to be when he gets here, it's going to be like he's right at home. And so I sent some messages out to my buddy Eric.
Right.
Dude, spread the word, because he was looking forward. He was just like, it's going to be amazing because he was so far away from home. Mm-hmm. But he had a blast, and there was a bunch of young kids out there, and he was speaking in Basque, and you hear a little Spanish in there. I don't know what it was, but I'm assuming he was singing in Basque. But when he started singing, he sounded just like Joey Ramone, and it was amazing. Okay, so let's talk about other well-known Basques throughout history. Pablo Picasso.
Well, Picasso wasn't Basque, but he
correct
painted the famous Guernica, which is a depiction of the town of Guernica, which is in the Basque Country, definitely. In fact, it's a very famous ancient Basque town where it was a place where different Basque communities would gather on an annual basis to write laws and conduct legislation. So it was very symbolic when Hitler bombed Guernica. That was a very symbolic place to bomb.
So you need to go on
Picasso.
Wikipedia and you need to correct it.
Yep, Picasso is he's from Spain, but I believe he's from Andalusia.
Ah, okay. How about this? Did you know that the singer Juanes is of Basque descent?
Juanes, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's known for more from being Colombian. But when I did some research and I actually asked him about it when the last time he came to perform here, because he did his rehearsals for his tour at the theater. And he goes, yes, and he's telling me in Spanish that it was in his NDA. Yes, and he was aware of it, but it's a part of his life that he doesn't feel that he's not well connected to it, like he doesn't remember a lot, but that he really does want to. He wants to know more. So there you go. Mm-hmm. What about the singer Manu Chao of the band Mano Negra?
Yes, I know that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him live?
Never ever seen him live.
Oh, amazing. Wow. Amazing. You got to see. If you see some documentaries, because he comes to the States every once in a while. Okay. And so if you see Mano Negra, so he releases his albums in Spanish, in French, does some in Arabic, he does them in Basque as well. And I'm like, one of the most amazing artists of all time. And that's really when I found out that I learned a lot about Basque history through the music of Manu Chao.
Wow, that's
because
great.
He just travels and he documents his life, and he goes here and he goes there and blah, blah, blah. From Chiapas, he'll go and perform in the Basque Country. And I know he's probably done some festivals.
Oh, yeah,
lots of festivals.
He's very recognized over there for that.
Yeah. And then, of course, as myself as a ska musician, I know a lot of Basque ska bands.
Okay.
There's Kortatu.
Kortatu is very famous.
The most famous band.
Yep.
We were actually on a ska compilation together.
Really? Wow.
But they became another band, which is very well known, because I had the T-shirt. Negu? Gudariak,
yeah.
So I said it right.
You did? That's
Negu
perfect.
Gudariak.
Negu Gudariak. Negu means winter, and Gudariak means red. So it means red winter.
So what does Red Winters mean?
It's got some political political.
Oh, yes, because they are a political group, right?
Very political.
So you can't talk about the Basque community, especially in the Basque Country, without bringing up the politics of it. So how does that come in?
Yeah, it's a difficult topic. I mean, there was significant terrorism in the Basque Country that only subsided really completely within the last decade or so. Mm-hmm. And it started as opposition to the Franco regime, the Franco dictatorship, which was incredibly repressive in the Basque Country. It was dedicated to the eradication of the Basque language and the Basque culture. And so it began as a resistance movement. Now, and that started in the late 50s and 60s, and it was, I think for a lot of people, it had a kind of justification then as a resistance to Franco and his government. Now, what happened after Franco died in the transition to democracy, that's the story that becomes more fraught and more conflicted. There was a significant group within the movement that decided that with the coming of democracy that they would pursue political means to achieve their goals. There was also another group that decided to stay committed to the armed conflict, and that really ramped up in the 80s and early 90s. And that was a time when I was living in the Basque Country. It was, on a daily basis, there were attacks, assassination attempts. It was a large-scale campaign, and met with, as it often does, a kind of response on the part of the state that also involved illegal acts of violence and torture. Now, luckily in the 21st century, things started to calm down, at least in terms of the kind of compared with the intensity of the 80s and 90s, and then eventually the public support for continued at the military action, I think, declined to an extent that they realized that it was best to put away the arms. So, again, for the past 10 years or so, there's been an agreement to demilitarize the Basque political situation, and things have improved, I think, dramatically.
Yeah.
At least the threat of violence has been removed from Basque politics. So there's still a very strong independence movement in the Basque Country, and I'm not sure what the long-term prospects are for that, but it's being conducted in a peaceful political context, and that's a real improvement.
There's a lot of history here, and I'm so glad that, Steve, you were able to make it in. And
we should mention Sunday. That's the big day.
Oh,
People want
yes.
to come out.
Please.
Yeah, so Saturday we talked a little bit about what's going on there, but Sunday is traditionally the big day.
Yes.
There's a mass, a Catholic mass in the morning, outdoors in the park, conducted. There's Basque choirs and singing and performances during the mass as well. But following the mass is the big barbecue lamb lunch, where this is the day when we throw open the doors and, all of Bakersfield comes to have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
That's been, I think, a real defining characteristic of the Basque community here in Bakersfield is how open and inclusive, and they just want everyone to know about and participate in what goes on. I mean, you can imagine a community like this being a little closed in and just into their own little thing, but that's never been the attitude of the Basque community here in Bakersfield. They have so many connections through friendships and marriages and everything that you mentioned. They want everyone to come and enjoy that day, and Sunday's the main day when that happens. So there's that big barbecue lamb lunch. Get some delicious lamb chops.
11:30 a.m.
11:30 a.m. And then following that, there's more performances, and then, again, more of the pelota, the handball games in the afternoon, and then just a big, massive blowout dance.
Yeah, dance by Luhartz from Euskadi.
Exactly.
Yes, and then on Monday, if you got any energy left, you go to the Basque breakfast at Wool Growers.
If you can scrape yourself up in the morning, that's where, if you're looking for some traditional Basque food as well that really came over from the Basque Country, it's especially what you get at Wool Growers on breakfast. They have the chorizo lucainca that you mentioned.
Ooh, yeah.
Then they have a morcilla. In Spanish, it's in Basque, it's called tripota. It's a blood sausage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shingarra, which is like a cured ham. So all of those pork products that they make traditionally in a Basque farmhouse, they've all made their way to America. So you get a big hearty breakfast, a few glasses of wine, and you're off again.
Yeah, this is a delicious, delicious day, delicious weekend. Just go out there. Go to the 50th Annual Basque Festival. It's going down at the Kern County Basque Club, 2301 South Union Avenue. Over there on South Union, go to kcbassclub.com. And they also have social. If you go to their Facebook and Instagram, you go at KC Basque Club. Just look it up. I guarantee you'll find out because there's so much information. If you go into the podcast information box, I will hyperlink all the associated links so that you know where you're going, because we want you to go over there and learn some more. Let me ask you this before I let you go. One last thing is what is one of the most important lessons that you've learned from your parents about being Basque?
Well, it's a sense that a community requires both commitment on your part, but also that the benefits that you get from having a community make that all worthwhile. That there's an expression in Basque called auzolan, and that means neighborhood work. And that's where people are. I mean, each of us have our own lives, we have our jobs, we have our things we're concerned with, but the expectation is that we'd be willing to work together to build something together. And that's what the Basque community has imparted to me, that all the benefit, all the enrichment of my life that I get from being part of that community, that it has to be reciprocated by some commitment on my part, some sacrifice. You got to be willing to be there flipping, the chops on the barbecue, or painting the bleachers in the Basque, in the handball court, or whatever it is, that contribution gets paid back to you 10 times over.
Yes, family and community. That's what it's all about. And you should go to the Basque Festival this weekend. Once again, I want to thank Steve Gamboa, a member of the Kern County Basque Club Board of Directors, as well as
Director of the Institute Basque Studies at CSUB.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
Herriko kaletan sarri
The Bako Tunes podcast with Matt Munoz. New episodes every week. And for the latest, be sure to follow us at Bako Tunes on Instagram. That's BAKOTUNES. And be sure to like us, rate us, comment at us, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back next time.